There we go. And then we can make sure that both of our audio is coming through. Because when we first started streaming, Rick ran a stream one of the earliest games, and nobody could hear Rick. So that was good times. Okay, so let's do mic check when you get a chance, Jeff. When we first started streaming, so go ahead for me.
All right. Test 1, test 2,
Perfect.
test 3.
Okay. Okay, you're good. All right, awesome. So, hello everybody out there in TV land. Welcome back to the Militant Casuals second, not annual, Jank Tank tournament. We are in round 2. We missed a lot of games in round 1 just because they were played at weird times, but we've got a good one for you here tonight. We've got Store Champ Tommy Wynn versus Chris Fire for Effect Langland. That is a nickname I literally just made up for him, and he'll probably hate it. And I'm Ben. I'm one of the founders of Militant Casuals, and of course, Tommy is one of our founders as well. Chris is a Militant Casual from the North Bay, and as a special guest for us in the booth tonight, we have Jeff Wilder from the Wide World of Wargaming X-Wing podcast, longtime X-Wing player in the Bay Area. Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself for the non-Bay Area players who might someday stumble upon this link?
All right. So I have been playing since 2012, December of 2012. So I've been around for all of the bad stuff and all of the good stuff. As you mentioned, I co-host a podcast, Wide World of Wargaming X-Wing, with Drew Bishop and Vince Morgado. We're more or less weekly. We've slowed down during the lockdown, but otherwise, yeah, feel free to look us up there and let us know what you think. I'm looking forward to this. This is the first stream I've actually ever done, so.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, and of course, for those of you who are watching us who've watched this before, Vince, the co-host, has been in the booth with us, and he's playing in the tournament with us as well. So we're slowly getting each of the hosts of that podcast to eventually join Jank Tank tournaments. Someday we'll get Drew.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with Jank Tank, just talk a little bit about the format. So I generated random lists. I generated a number of lists per faction, and then we did a draft. The draft was based on our last tournament results. So I think I'll have to double check here. I don't think either of these guys drafted particularly early. Maybe Tommy. No, I think they were both drafted middle of the road. So we're dealing with not quite perfect lists because it is Jank Tank and ships you might not normally see on the board very much. So Tommy's flying Galactic Empire, a faction he doesn't spend a lot of time with. He's got Death Rain with ion missiles, ion bombs, seismic charges, and hull upgrade, a Sigma Squadron Phantom with Composure of all things and FCS, Imdar Test Pilot, another Phantom with Fifth Brother, and then a naked Inquisitor TIE Advanced. Chris is bringing Galactic Republic to the table with Axe, a torrent that you've probably never heard of, with homing missiles. Rick Ollier, who is good, and we've seen quite a bit with marksmanship and advanced proton torpedoes. Plo Koon with calibrated laser targeting. And most interesting to me is Anakin Skywalker Y-Wing with Clone Commander Cody. Now, Jeff, you were going to say something in there. Go for it.
So honestly, for middle of the road list, I don't think either of these are terrible lists. Death Rain has plenty of bombs with which to grab his extra ability actions. Phantoms are good. They're just good. They're just a good chassis. And I mean, he's got 3 wasted points on that Sigma, but that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And then he's got the tankiness of the TIE Inquisitor.
Yeah.
So, and then on the other side, Axe. Yeah, you haven't heard of Axe because the V19 named torrents are so overpriced.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's got homing missiles. And I mean, the ability to say, look, eat a damage or let me roll 4 dice is a pretty good ability on a little ship like the Torrent. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, I just think that they're a good list. You know, you've got Anakin in the Y wing you mentioned. He's got nothing extra, but he's going to be difficult to kill. And when he misses with his little pea shooter on his Y wing, Clone Commander Cody is there to help out his squadron mates. He's 6'5". Is Axe a 4 or a 3? I
Three.
think he's a 3.
Yep.
Yeah. So you know, it's I think if I had to bet on it, I'd give the edge to Tommy, just on the strength of the list. But I've seen both these guys play, and they're both really good players. So I don't know who I'd bet on.
Yeah, I agree with you on the kind of wasted points on with composure on the Sigma. I'm not sure how much I agree with you that homing missiles is not a terrible thing for, a two-die ship like Axe for sure. I don't think you'd ever see that combination normally in play. Probably not wasted points in the same way that composure is, though, as you say. Um, yeah, one of the things I tried to do with the generation of the list this time is have less of a gap between the very very top and the very very bottom. So I did throw out some lists that had pilots you see a lot on the table. So I threw out a couple lists with Vader. I threw out a list with um, Kylo Ren. I threw out a list with Quick Draw. And I also tried to make sure that the list I generated had some interesting choices to be made in terms of the upgrade swaps, but weren't just like overwhelmed with with wasted points. And Jeff, you've played in at least one other of these jank tank tournaments, and I think as I recall, you had a lot more wasted points in that list than you do in this one. Am I remembering right?
I, yeah, so I am playing in this one. And I gotta say, I thought you did a great job with the list balance because when we were doing the draft for it, I put together a list of like my 6 top lists and then the next 6 that I thought were pretty good. And I think by the time the draft was over, 4 of my top 12 picks were still left.
Yeah.
So I think that you did a really good job with the balance. But yeah, I played in the what is it, the Fly Better Jank Tank tournament, and I had 13
Oh,
completely useless points.
Yeah.
It was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, and part of I think that some of the lists that you and Rick and some others pegged as very good lists that didn't get drafted, I think partly was that there were folks who just wanted to run a specific list. They were like,
Mm.
oh, I like that archetype. Not that it was necessarily great or not, but just I think some lists that probably were very high quality fell through the cracks more due to player preference than anything else.
Yeah.
Which is fine. So let's talk about the setup here. We've got Death Rain is sort of set up across from Chris's entire list. We've got the Inquisitor and the 2 Phantoms on the far end of the board. It looks to me like, because of initiative values, basically Death Rain was a magnet to those other lists.
That's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Jeff, if you're Tommy, how do you approach this opening run?
Turn and boost with Death Rain. I mean, I gotta be honest. Turn and boost.
Yeah.
Just you cannot. Death Rain's got 10 hit points, but you can't face down his list. You turn and boost, Tommy. And I have no doubt that's what Tommy will be doing.
Which, of course, actually that's to his favor to some extent because Death Rain is a bomber, right? So
Right.
you're not too sad to be running away from the bulk of the list. If they get too close, drop that ion and have some fun. So that is actually going to be because you'd imagine Chris is going to expect that very thing. If you're Chris, do you go hard at Death Rain or do you maybe count on Death Rain turning away and try something different?
So I think that the asteroid structure, the obstacle structure we've got, makes it pretty tough for Chris to do anything but come down pretty hard and try to find lanes through the right side of the board. He's not as nimble as Tommy's list. So if he tries to turn himself and go up the left side, Tommy's going to be able to pounce with those phantoms and really do
Yeah.
some damage. I'm a little bit surprised that Tommy started his Inquisitor on the outside the way that he did, as
Yeah.
opposed toward the inside. But it's fast enough ship. He'll be able to recover if he doesn't like it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing actually. If I would have set up probably in the exact opposite to give the Inquisitor the option to be sort of the tanky blocker, but on the same token, he could also have be planning to support Death Rain with the Phantoms and have the Inquisitor kind of come in as a stealth flanker. So it'll be interesting to see which way each of these players decide to play this. I would be pretty concerned. Anakin's not very fast in that really crappy Gen 1 Y-wing dial that he's got there, and those are on the inside, as well with the speedsters of Chris's list being pretty far out there. I definitely would not want to get caught by that ion bomb though with any
Oh,
of those. And Tommy's letting us know that he has initiative, and I've given him the go ahead to go. You said you give the advantage to Tommy though, and it's maybe because of the aggregate of the chassis.
yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, the fact that the Phantom chassis is so good, the
Yeah.
Inquisitor chassis is so good, and the fact that Death Rain actually does not have a bad loadout here.
No, he does not.
It plays into Death Rain's ability, which you love to see. And speaking as somebody who has ion bombs the as on my list as well, they're not as bad as people think. They're really good. I actually would have won my game if I'd remembered my nimble bomber.
Oh no.
Um, so because of ion bombs, and
Yeah.
it's really good. And I think that, like I said, a slight edge. It's not like Chris has bad ships. He's
Yeah.
got Plo and Anakin and Rick and, well, okay, Axe, but
Yeah. But I mean, Rick is a premium ship, and
yeah,
Plo Koon, I think you'd rather have Delta 7 with Plo, but also a premium hull. And Anakin Y-wing doesn't get a lot of play, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means that there typically have been better pieces in Republic to put on the table, like Anakin Delta 7. Um, so Tommy did open up with an accidental, I'd imagine, self bump of his. Let's see, that is the Sigma Squadron bumping into the Imdar. So the Imdar is cloaked, and the SSA is not. Probably not a huge deal. Without there
if
being
you're
an
gonna
engagement
bump,
coming up.
if you're gonna bump accidentally,
Yeah,
first turn is turn to do it.
yeah, for sure. No surprise on Death Rain. Death Rain is getting the hell out of there. What is going to be interesting here to see is if Rick was able to get uh, range with that good boost call. It's close.
Mm,
It's
well,
yeah. I don't think so, but I think it's close.
yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
just out.
yeah. So Tommy did go, with the Inquisitor a little bit fast, and then a boost to try to get out of the way. I think of where those where the Phantoms want to go. Uh, really only leaves him with one decloak option for the guy who is cloaked, which is kind of a bummer. I don't know if I mentioned this as we were doing our lead in here, but Tommy doesn't play a lot of Empire, so Tommy picked this list, I think, as much for the potential fun of learning how to fly Phantoms as anything else. So, not in his wheelhouse necessarily, but still, he's a good player. He's won a store championship. I like to joke about him being a store champ because, Sam actually uh, chose to give him the game that they would have played, but
Uh, that's
still,
just mean.
store champ is store champ, as they say. Um, so let's see. I think we were through our first round here, and I don't think we saw anything too surprising.
Now,
Um,
did he check range on Rick? Because I was thinking it was probably about a half base out of range.
I haven't seen. I have not
I
seen
know he
them check
checked on
combat.
Plo Koon, but I
Yeah,
didn't see him check on Rick.
I don't think so.
But
But I see they went to round. They moved the token to round two. So Yeah, no range. I just double checked it.
So he does have that. I mean, it's only init 3, that MDAR test pilot, but again, the Phantom chassis is really good.
Yeah,
And Fifth Brother, I just Fifth Brother is such a great gunner for the Phantom. I mean, it's like custom made for the Phantom.
yeah. Really good on
And
tie silencers as well. Not silencers. Tie. God, what are those? Not the Reaper, but the small version. Starts with an S. My brain is
the
just gone.
Striker,
Striker. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, tie. Really good
Duchess,
on tie
Duchess
strikers
and
as
Fifth
well.
Brother, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Jeff, if you are Tommy, what are you doing with the Phantoms this turn?
So he's got to get the Sigma cloaked. He's not in any danger from Axe or Anakin in terms of range. So he could easily just do like a 2 forward, maybe a 4 forward to have all of his options available and cloak. Um, he could also, I mean, Phantoms, they're so good. He could 1 turn left and cloak and be just fine. Um, I think that the main thing is getting that Sigma cloaked and getting a better position for the MDAR. I'm not really sure. I wouldn't have turned the MDAR in, so I think that's going to be a tough. That's going to be his toughest recovery.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of has to decloak to the left, and then he's kind of in the way of Death Rain at that point. Death Rain trying to get the hell
Hmm.
out of Dodge, right?
Yep.
If he does decloak, and it looks like he is, so he did go backwards. That to me suggests he's going to go relatively slow. Uh,
Yeah, they don't have the 1 forward. The new Phantoms have the 1 bank, which is great, but in this particular case, the 1 bank doesn't do him a lot of good. So I would
no,
expect maybe a 2 forward.
yeah, I think I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised to see the other Phantom basically do a 2 or 3 forward and get ready to kind of go around that rock
Yeah, the thing
next
about
time.
the 2 forward, which was my initial thought, is that it cuts off your left decloak, and I don't
Yeah,
really see a reason to do that.
true.
Just go ahead and do the 3 or the 4 forward, because then you've got all your decloak options open.
Yeah, and the Phantom is made to candy cane, as they say. So,
Yep.
um, and that probably does give you a lot of space for that Inquisitor to sneak through first, which you really want. You want the Inquisitor to be sort of a screen for that guy. So Tommy has gone ahead and
Very
dropped a
nice.
seismic.
Yep. Yeah, that's a very nice move.
Yeah, I like it. I, that looks like it's right on the cusp of range 1, so it'll be
Oh
interesting.
yeah, it'll get that obstacle.
Okay.
It'll just clip it. Which means that if they go fast, they're gonna have to barrel roll.
Yeah.
So
And
um
I think of course they're going fast, right? I mean, you want to try to catch Death Rain before he gets too far and gets the
yes.
cover of those Phantoms, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's why I think that's a really good
Yeah.
it's a really good move, is to drop it there and make them make that suboptimal choice.
Yeah. Brian in our chat has asked what each of us is drinking. I should ask the guys in the game as well. What are you both drinking? I'm drinking a local Kolsch. It's a local brewery, Claim 52. It's very good. One of my favorites, in fact. Jeff, I don't know if you're drinking anything, but if you are, what is it?
If I were drinking, I'm not because I work in the morning, but
Yep.
if I were drinking, it would be the what is it? The Maker's 46 that I
Nice.
have on the. Yeah, I'm primarily a bourbon beer back drinker.
Yeah, I'm also a bourbon and beer guy myself. My go-to bourbon is Eagle Rare, just for both price and quality match for the most part. Though I like a couple more premium ones as well. And then I just
Have you
kind
ever
of
had Angel's Envy by
love
any
it,
chance?
absolutely
Yeah,
love it.
Angel's Envy is it was introduced to me by a partner in my firm about 4 years ago, and I'd never had it before.
Yeah,
I was like, are you kidding? This is only like 35-40 bucks a bottle. This is
yeah,
great.
yeah. That's a great bourbon at a great price. Yeah, Eagle Rare tends to be about 28, 29, and is just a for me it's just totally drinkable and totally tasty. Um,
Oh my goodness.
ooh,
Okay. I didn't see that coming. You were right, though. He's supporting the Death Reign with the Phantom. He's at least making them think about it.
Yeah, he brought the Phantom in a little faster than we expected. So he did a 3 forward rather than a 2. The other one, I think, also did a 3 as you suggested, which does maybe give him the. Ooh, I don't know if he can. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
close.
It's
It's
close. I'm
close.
not sure he makes it.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
why I kind of hedged and said 3 or 4
yeah.
because the 3 was close. That he, ugh, it's close.
What I do like about Death Rain's move here, even though it is a risk doing the 4K, is you don't want to leave that Phantom hanging out on its own. As you say, Rick can't just stay where he is here,
Yep.
so he's probably got a barrel roll. A boost won't get him out of range of that, and because it's Death Rain, he was able to get the focus. Now he won't be able to use his ion missiles, but so it'll be a 2-die primary. But he's going to make Chris have to make some pretty uncomfortable decisions and not be really tokened up.
Yeah, and I mean he's not going to get his 2-die primary, right? If we expect Rick to barrel roll out of the ion or out of the seismic.
Yeah, I think
So,
it
but
looks
that's
like Chris
fine.
is
I mean,
thinking pretty hard about this here.
oh, you don't want to take a shield on
No,
Rick
I don't think you can.
unnecessarily. Yeah.
Yep, there he goes. The
So,
other
but I
good
think
thing,
you're right. I think you're absolutely right. It was a good move by Death Rain because of and that's just a mistake that I would make. You had to move Plo Koon there once you realized that you were going to have to barrel roll. Plo Koon needed to go first so that Plo Koon could make room for Rick. That's a mistake that I would definitely make if I weren't really thinking things through closely.
yeah, I mean that's a tough one too. Partly because they're both already close together. They're both going very fast and aggressively, and you kind of hope, okay, maybe if I really, if I go forward with the barrel roll, maybe I get out of the way, and then oh dang. Now the upside here is I'm not sure that Death Rain actually has arc on either of those guys.
Yeah, he doesn't.
So
Um, yeah.
and as
So
you said, easily clipped that the debris, but the barrel rolls get them out of arc or out of range.
I'm wondering as obstacles begin to disappear, does that favor Tommy or Chris?
That's a good question, and I tend to think that disappearing obstacles helps Tommy's phantom play. It opens up
Yes,
space
given
for decloaks.
the cloak lanes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, so Rick went faster than the Imdar here, which means that he will get an extra offensive die. So it'll be 3 versus 2 at range 2. Um, and of course, Tommy definitely doesn't want to lose that evade.
He does have Rick has marksmanship and he
Yep,
does have bullseye. So
he does. Which means, of course, that if he rolls some hits, which, X-wing dice, my reds don't actually have hits, so kind of a bummer. But yeah, he can change 1 to a crit.
you come on now. You saw my game against Patrick. That was literally a sub 1% on Reds game.
Yeah.
That was remarkable, and I still almost won.
The secret is that we call Natty Patty not just him that just not just because his dice are amazing and streaky and spiky, either really good or really bad, but he somehow affects other people's dice too.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So,
the damnable misery of it is that he also outplays me in a lot of games, and that was one of the rare games where I flew just as well as he did, and then that happens with my damn dice. Never mind, that's enough. I'm done. I'm all desiccated.
it looks like Rick actually chose to fire, by the way, at Death Rain, despite having the bullseye.
I mean, Death Rain's got no
Yeah,
tokens, and he's got a 1. Did he have range 3? Did he have? I think he got range 3.
he had. Yeah, he should have rolled 2 dice, right?
Oh no, it's range 2. Yeah, it's range 2.
Oh,
So
Plo Koon is the range 3. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
yes,
So
Pokemon range 3.
yeah,
So that's not a terrible choice, just because Death Rain's got no tokens,
yeah.
and the Phantom does.
What I'm not so sure about here is not following up with another shot on Death Rain. You strip the token from Death Rain. Yes, it's dice versus two dice, but red dice are better than green dice. You
Yep,
know,
I agree.
focus fire. I mean, maybe he's hoping he'll strip the focus off of the ITP. I get it, but I think the ITP is going to probably fire at Rick anyway.
Yeah, I just don't. He had bullseye on the ITP.
Yes, I think he did.
Wow, I
Yeah,
did not expect that.
yeah. So I guess in that sense, that does play into it. I didn't think he had
I don't
bullseye.
think he has bullseye there. By the way, I'm measuring this on my screen, and I don't think he had bullseye. For
Well,
what it's
we've got our
worth.
first just roll natties of the night. Here, I
Yeah.
can find out. Okay, let's see. He did not have bullseye.
Yeah, but he added a focus. Or
Yeah.
did I?
No, I think he got it wrong,
Hmm.
but that's okay.
Yeah, it's jank.
Yeah, it's jank. And Tommy,
The
Tommy,
noise will be lost in the signal, or the other way around.
yeah,
We're not
and
sure
Tommy
which.
evaded, so no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul. Yeah. This next turn's going to be really interesting
I
because
do
Rick's
think
got a.
Tommy. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I think
No, go
Tommy
ahead.
did bump the Imdar over now though.
He
So
did nudge him. Yeah, I
yeah.
saw that.
So I'm just gonna turn off this arc and we're just gonna pretend none of this ever happened.
Fair enough.
There we go.
Just hoping Tommy doesn't forget that Rick does have that advanced proton torpedo, so Rick does not have to go fast here. I mean, Rick usually wants to go fast, but in this case, he doesn't have to. Just be
Yeah.
aware. Yeah, and as we expected, like Axe and Anakin, just by dint of not being as fast and nimble, they just are. They'll only be in the fight this coming turn. So, what do you think of the Inquisitor's position?
I don't hate it. I like that he's going to be able to come into flank. I don't think there's a way for Axe to turn to really deal with him on his own.
Not without getting eaten alive by that Sigma.
Exactly. I think the Sigma is probably to be safe going to have to decloak right, which means he may not have a shot with it next turn. But that said, I think my personal preference is to use that Inquisitor as a blocker, but I don't hate the flanking move at all.
I'd sort of like to see. I think the Inquisitor's great. I think that's the best position ship on the board. I'd really like to see the Sigma decloak right and do that big old. The biggest they have is a 2-turn now, right? So not quite a candy cane, but a jumbo candy cane or whatever.
Hello.
Hi.
So joining us is Rick Riddell, another one of the founders of the Militant Casuals. Jeff, why don't you tell us what you think of Rick? No, I'm just kidding.
I love Rick.
I appreciate you, Jeff.
We all love.
I genuinely love Rick. When I've had issues with Rick, I've pretty much told him flat out. But recently, that has not been the case, and I love Rick. And you guys need to quit picking on Rick.
I feel like we get mixed messages from you on whether we should continue picking on Rick or pick on Rick more.
You only feel that way because I'm definitely sending mixed messages. That's the only reason you're sensing that.
Yeah. So Rick joins us having been playing a practice game. We are moving into round 3 here. I think the only damage that happened in the last round is Plo Koon lost the shield, which is actually a big deal.
Painful, yeah.
Super painful here. It looked like the ITP rolled. I think it was either natty. Yeah, it was natty hits. And Chris still did get evade, but yeah, unfortunately not a 7B. So Rick, we've been talking about kind of the lists here, and from an overall like whole advantage perspective, I think Jeff and I both agree that Tommy probably has an advantage, though Tommy also doesn't play Imperials very much.
No, he does not.
So what's your kind of thinking on this matchup, Rick?
Bear in mind, Chris also does not fly Republic, so it's. I don't want to say it's the blind leading the blind, but it's a little bit of that. I think there is a little bit more synergy coming out of the Republic list, just in terms of it being AC and having that maneuverability. But in sheer red dice and whole value, I like Tommy's better. I think Tommy, if he can just keep his fire focused, should be able to use that to his advantage.
Yeah, and something worth noting as we head into dials here is that while Death Rain is great in dropping bombs, getting extra actions, being stressed after that 4K means that not that he probably wants to drop a bomb here because it probably doesn't hit anybody, but he won't get an action out of it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I just so what do you guys think Death Rain does here to avoid taking APT from Rick?
Wow, that's a great question. The fastest blue on their dial is what, a 3 forward?
3 forward, yeah. 2 forward. 2
is
forward.
Is it just the 2?
2
yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
Or it's the 1 bank.
Now then, of course, he can boost.
Yeah. That's a good question.
He's not target locked by Rick, so honestly, what I might consider doing is using the Imdar as some kind of a blocker, like maybe not even decloaking it, and just sending it 2 straight to block Rick Olay, and then 1 banking Death Rain.
Well, that's interesting. The question there, though, is are you willing to give up the Imdar's gun to protect Death Rain from a single modified APT? And it's I'm not suggesting an answer to that. I'm just saying it's really a tough question.
I'll be honest here. I think what I do is I think I decloak the ITP forward and plan to jump over Plo and Rick and try to get a good look at Anakin with that. And I think I actually go really fast with Death Rain. I think I do either a 3 hard and don't worry about the action and just plan to pile those guys up with the Inquisitor and the SSA potentially coming in to put fire on them. Or I do a 3 bank hoping that, either they turn into me or they go past me.
Well, so if Rick does a 3 turn, all right, he doesn't have to go fast. Again, there's not a law against him going slow.
Right.
But if he does do a 3 turn, then Death Rain doing a 2 straight and a boost right will take him out of Rick's arc.
He could just do the 1 bank and then another 1 boost.
Yeah, and just jam up the area.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I like kind of going fast. But I think the thing is that either way, whether he does the 1 bank boost or like a 3 hard just right in their faces, he won't have a dice bot either way, right?
The boost links to a target lock.
Oh, that's fair. I don't think I want to be stressed if I'm Death Rain.
How weird is it to have Anakin pulling up the rear and not be really afraid of him?
Isn't that weird? Like I don't even care. It's like throw your 2 dice at me and strain me. That's right.
Until he drains you with Commander Cody, and then you take a advanced proton torpedo with
no dice.
With no dice. Oh, and it's a fully modded one because of Plo.
I mean, that's kind of why I like the potentially doing the decloak 2 forward and then hopping over those 2 guys, though, is that you probably bump Anakin that way.
The problem with it is you do have to go pretty fast. It looks like you have to do a 3. If he does a 3 straight, he's good.
Yep.
And then you probably bump.
If he 1 banks right here, he could just cause a traffic jam right there.
But if he does that, he's got no action.
He's got an evade and a force. He's fine, and he's not getting shot by Rick. It's great.
That's true. Unless Rick really is going to do something crazy in like 5K or whatever they've got.
They got a 3 down.
Did you guys notice the Sigma decloaked forward as well?
Yeah.
It's
That's
probably a
interesting.
3 hard to the left, which I don't like.
I mean, I agree because he can't do anything after that. What's he hoping for? That Axe turned left? Axe didn't turn left.
Yeah, it's not. It's probably not a great move for this turn, for sure. But I don't hate it in terms of sort of a long-term. Again, provide pressure on the backside of these guys, and maybe take Anakin. This is gonna sound dirty, but take Anakin from behind. Peg him just like Padme used to.
Padme pegging, yes. I wasn't going to go there, but you said it first.
I did. That's the kind of streams we do here. At least it wasn't a lightsaber. Hey. Oh wait, okay, I'm gonna stop.
Padme likes to be in charge, though.
It's true. Oh, so interesting. That's gonna.
Anakin can't do anything besides bump unless Anakin decided to 4K.
Yeah, I mean that's actually a really good move. I don't see him taking any shots this turn.
Yeah,
that's a really good move.
Joke's on you. Axe just 2 talons to the right.
Yeah, exactly. or even just 1 turns to the right. That's weird.
Yeah, he's got the 2. Oops, I guess I should probably move that out of the way. It's got the 2 forward.
He has to. That's interesting. He's got Death Rain, but Death Rain's going to move. That's a strange move. That's like a non-committal move that actually put him where he does no good.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't.
He's not going to do any good anyway.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily going to advocate Axe turning towards the Inquisitor, but he's of more use kind of jamming up that space between the 2 rocks than he is where he is at the moment. I wonder if Chris thought he'd go a little bit further forward and he could do some kind of barrel roll thing.
What he's probably hoping is that the SSA was going to candy cane and he would be able to throw a homing missile at the SSA.
I think you are correct.
I think you're right about that too. It's just, if I'm the SSA, maybe I just suck that up.
Yeah. So here is the bank that you predicted, Rick.
Yep.
And you have to boost, right?
I think that Rick's right. A 1 boost here is great. That's money.
No, is it a bank or straight?
Bank boost, man.
Yep. If you can block Plo, oof.
And with Axe where he is, you go ahead and you take that target lock on Anakin.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The only thing, not that I think it was a bad move, but I do worry about next turn for the Imdar. Like, being stressed means potentially not great choices you have to make, particularly with where Death Rain is at the moment.
So I always lose track on the way stress interacts with the cloak and decloak mechanic. It's like he can still cloak, but he doesn't get the evade token because it's an action.
That's correct.
Is that it?
That is correct.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah, it's a trade of the evade token for the cloak, and then obviously you can decloak because that's not an action, but you won't get the token back.
Right.
So Rick did something interesting, and again, I think you're right, Jeff. I think that he was expecting a much more conservative play from the SSA, and he's got arc on that, but it's through a rock, and Rick's going to be
speed.
Oh, and then he's going to boost, which
he still has the Inquisitor.
Yeah, he's got the Inquisitor.
Through a rock with force.
Exactly.
I mean, he did move faster. That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the words of somebody famous, never say never.
So it does seem pretty clear that he was very, very concerned about getting jammed up again and blocked. He saw that coming. And if you're Plo here, you have to barrel roll, I think.
Watch Anakin 3 bank into this.
Yeah, I really like Tommy's position here.
Yeah, I do too.
Pretty nice.
I mean, there's not really anywhere safe for Anakin to go.
No. No. It's kind of weird. Anakin's going to suddenly be pounced by 3 ships. Like, again, I mean, not to. It's just every time I look down and I see that it's Anakin, I'm like, oh, they need to be careful. And then I'm like, no, they're fine.
Oh my lord, he
And he
did!
did it. He did it.
Oh, as I like to say, Botany Bay. Oh no.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is some 5D chess we're seeing here. This was.
Yes.
I'm serious. I mean,
Yeah,
these were
yeah.
some really good moves by Tommy. I'm like, wow, that's because I would have got by Axe and Rick, to be honest, if I'd done what I would have done.
I didn't expect
Call
that
him
3
Store
hard
Champ
not to
Tommy
hit the
Wynn for a
rock.
reason.
I'll be honest.
I'm with you on that one, actually.
I'm Tommy, God moded that move. I also was worried about the Inquisitor, where it was. So even if he didn't hit the rock, I was afraid he was going to hit the Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Instead, Tommy's like, "Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing."
No faith.
Right,
Store
exactly.
champion. Tommy Wynn.
This is what I'm saying. Store champion Tommy Wynn. There's a reason that Sam was too afraid to play him. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, Sam is a noted pussy.
Whoa, wait, this conversation changed very quickly.
I love you, Sam.
Sam's too busy playing Animal Crossing, I think, to watch this stream.
Oh, God. Really?
Or Fallen Order or something.
Yeah. No, I was actually surprised to find out that Sam is playing Animal Crossing, because I am. I will fully admit I love Animal Crossing. I never would have thought that was on Sam's radar, but.
So Anakin just did all of Death Train's shields.
Yep.
In the words of Death Rain, oh well.
Yeah.
Right?
I got an extra hull.
Yeah, because Death Rain's about to end this man's whole career.
Now, I'm curious, what's the timing on Plo Koon? Could he have pulled Death Rain's target lock?
No, because it's orange tokens.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Just orange. Gotcha. Disarm and tractor and so forth.
Yep. Oh, yep, we're fine. We're all fine here. How are you?
Yeah,
So
the
who was
Inquisitor.
this?
That was Rick on the Inquisitor. So three
Yep.
dice for going faster than the Inquisitor, against 4 because of the rock, and LOL.
Bobby or Langland should know better. I will never hurt Inquisitors. They are my favorite. Okay, pun's over.
All right. So this is.
This is Death Rain.
I think so.
It's got to be, right?
Because the SSA did not have a shot.
Yeah, and he just used his target lock, so he takes 2 shields off of the Y-Wing, off Anakin.
Yep. And that crit was rolled after, right? So it doesn't go away.
No, the crit should have been a hit.
Okay.
But we'll correct it when it matters.
Yeah, he's got shields, so who cares?
Wow. I care. The TO cares.
Imdar.
Okay, Han.
That Imdar
I mean,
is
no,
gonna. That Imdar, if he rolls a natural crit, that's gonna hurt.
Well,
Yeah.
he has 5th brother, so if he rolls a focus, that's gonna hurt.
That's going to really hurt, because that one will not get changed.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
because of the timing.
Yep.
Okay.
Sean is letting us know in chat that your dice were not great in your practice game. Rick.
No, they were not.
Amateurs.
Yeah, I'm a professional. My dice are terrible in every game.
My dice are professionally ridiculous.
We took the stats. Lady Luck says I should have rolled 9.5 blanks. I rolled 16.
That's impressive.
So Tommy's checking the fire. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
But those
Who
all
is
become
this?
hits.
No, only one of them does.
Oh, only one.
Oh,
of them. That's right.
Oh my god! Oof!
You got it, Rick.
Half points there.
Yeah, that's brutal. Plus whatever the crit is.
Panicked pilot.
Oh, I should probably send the scoreboard out to chat, so let's do that. So folks who are following along at home, I will post a link in chat in just a moment on the YouTube page. Did we get the crit pull yet?
Nope.
Not yet.
Okay.
Oh, Chris has got a rally here. He's in some trouble.
Yeah. So that's 32 points to Tommy there.
Oh, he forgot to make a damage deck.
Oh. Well, this reminded him. Loose stabilizer.
Loose stabilizer. Ah, he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
Everything's fine.
Oh, no, he's not. That makes Anakin just a little predictable.
Nah, he's got more than one hole left. He can turn.
Yes, he can turn.
That is, I mean, if he's not going to go straight, he has to K, right? He's in some bad shape.
Yeah, I don't hate the K turn at all, just because I don't think the only one who's really going to have a shot at you is the ITP. And the ITP is not going to have the evade token, so...
Yeah, and there's a really good chance he triggers Anakin's ability on a K.
Yeah.
Inquisitor will have a shot there too, because the Inquisitor's going to 3 hard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so here, let's talk about Tommy's, options here as we go into round 4. So he probably has to decloak forward with the SSA. I mean, he could decloak right and be further out of the fight, but I don't see why you'd ever make that decision. The decloak forward probably does allow the Inquisitor to do whatever the hell it wants, including a 3 hard, so that's probably the right call too. What do you do with Death Rain? Because that's the real challenge here, being all stressed.
Yeah, and unfortunately the one bank, which is his only blue bank, is not going to clear Anakin. That's Death Rain's a little tough.
I might actually one bank to the left, because you do have ion bombs and seismic charges, and so depending on situations, you could leave. You could really create some awkward situations.
Well, I mean, if you bank,
does he ion bomb here just in case Anakin tries to escape? Anakin's not going to try to escape.
I don't see Anakin going to the right.
Anakin can't. Also the ion bomb wouldn't do any damage, so I wouldn't put it there. You want to use the ion bomb on somebody like Rick or Plo.
And I'm not sure. I mean, if you bank, you're just going to run into Anakin.
Maybe you just reset Death Rain with a 2 straight boost toward the top.
I think actually the interesting question to me is, if you're the ITP, I think you decloak to the right, just to get out of the way of everything else and to put pressure on, the right flank of Chris's group, right?
Do they have the 1 blue, or is it the 2 blue that's...
It's only the 2 blue.
Only the 2 blue. Ooh. Yikes.
For banks.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like the decloak left, and then as weird as it seems, the 2... then he could do almost anything he wants, forward or... I like the left.
Yep. It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, you're guaranteed that Axe will be out of the... Well, wait, no, you're not guaranteed Axe will be out of the way, because I think Tommy has initiative.
But you could decloak left and then 3 straight.
I mean, you could also just 2 straight into him, because you're not going to get an... No, never mind. You will get an action if you clear the stress.
You could decloak and 2 bank and look for a possible shot on Plo Koon.
Yeah.
It's not likely, but you're also pretty safe, and you're likely to have a shot on Anakin.
Yeah, because Plo Koon actually doesn't have really great options this turn at all.
No.
I would think hard about like a 5K for Plo.
Just to get back in it fast.
Exactly.
You re-engage faster, and you have a turn to regen your force.
And I'd be a little bit worried about a sloop leaving you vulnerable to the ITP as much as anything else. So yeah, I think I'd 5K.
So the Sigmas decloak forward. The M Dart I think should go left.
Yeah. Is the
And
3 forward
then-
on the Phantom Blue?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Tommy just told us all to go to hell. And
remember, Tommy is better than all of us.
He's a store
'cause he's
champ.
store champ.
Wait, I'm a store champ.
Am I a store champ?
I'm
Rick,
like a
are you-
9-time store champ.
Well, Rick, you're a champion seal clubber. We know that.
To be fair, it was 17 seals. That's a lot of seals.
That's
I
true.
mean, that's tiring. That's just gonna wear your arm right out.
Yeah, it's true. I wonder if Tommy was a little worried that the decloak to the left would have been blocked by the SSA or blocked the SSA, and that made him decide to go to the right.
I don't think it would have, but we can't know what he was worried about. Unfortunately, he's gonna get no action. That's a little painful.
There's the 3 hard as predicted by Rick.
Target lock axe? Nope, just focus. I guess he's expecting to have a kill shot on Anakin or something.
So he gets rid of stress, but no action.
I
So is
guess
that a
It's-
1?
It's
He did a
actually
1?
white. Yeah. So it does
Why
not get
did
rid of stress.
Why did he do a 1?
Don't question the store champ, Jeff.
I mean, you're blocked
Big
regardless. At
brain
least get rid of your
move.
stress.
Big brain move here.
5D chess. 5D chess, guys. It's
5D chess. I can't. He actually, up until just then, he flew like a perfect game. So
Well, except for the early bumps, but yeah.
I got nothing to.
Hey, high level X-wing looks a lot like low level X-wing. We don't.
It's true.
What we don't know, Ben, is that those early bumps were actually planned to get him to exactly this
5D
point.
chess.
somehow.
No, you're
In
absolutely right.
In a deterministic universe, Tommy knew.
I like the Talon roll for Max here. I will also admit.
I do.
Just to put some guns on things, put some damage maybe on Death Rain.
That's the right thing, right try, but it. Oh.
I said 3 straight.
Yeah, but he had to get rid of his stress. He didn't have to.
Oh, the 3 straight is stupid dial.
Yeah.
I don't think I've flown a Punisher since I put 4 on the table.
So Death Rain's gonna take probably another shot from Anakin when he Ks. He is gonna K, isn't he?
What did Tommy do here? He backed up.
With Death Rain?
Yeah, I see him still in the original position with Death Rain.
He bumped the ITP.
Not quite. He bumped. No, he bumped Anakin, and then he also bumped the ITP.
Gotcha. Okay, so he did just stay still because the ITP's at an angle. Got it.
Yeah.
He meant to do that.
He just barely bumped Anakin. That was like,
he did that to avoid arc for Max.
Could be. 5D chess, man.
Big brain move.
I think the Indart also avoided arc from Max, by the way.
I'm pretty sure it did.
All right.
So Flo does the sloop, which he was right. We were thinking K turn, but the sloop is better. So what's wrong with us?
Imdar is an arc.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he might be, just barely. Oof.
I'm doing the ever so scientific hold the paper up to the
what do you think I just did?
And you guys are correct. He's an arc.
Yeah. So he did just a very conservative 1 forward to keep the health on Anakin. He's going to fix that crit and be in 1 good arc and have the debris kind of protecting him from 2 others. I don't hate that, I guess, ultimately.
I think he's dead this turn regardless.
I mean, dice can be, pretty tricky, but you could live through this or die horribly. For sure. I don't think Death Rain has a shot.
The thing that's interesting about this, Death Rain has no shot, but the thing that's interesting is he's left you with the choice of Anakin or Axe to shoot at.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's any doubt that you shoot at Anakin till he's dead and then switch to Axe.
Who did Death Rain fire? Or what is Chris firing at? I don't understand. Was that... Oh, that must have been Plo. Okay, that was Plo. Got it. Never mind. Everything's fine here. How are you?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so let's see. So now we've got the SSA firing at Anakin.
Brutal.
That is a pretty great roll, but that crit... Oh, no, wait. Now, yeah, because he doesn't have a crit card, right? So he's...
Oh. He took
Correct.
a crit card.
No, he did, but it was fixed. He fixed it, right?
Well,
Yeah,
you
but
defend
it's...
if you are not critically damaged, change one crit result to a hit result, and he fixed
is
the
not
crit.
critically damaged. Yeah, he's right.
I'll
Well.
jump over to their chat.
Okay. It's funny because a lot of these streams, I don't know how many you've been able to watch, Jeff. I end up having to be both
Oh, yeah, I've seen
commentator and TO.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know that interaction is because I actually really like the Republic Y-Wings. Not just broadside and matchstick either, like most people. I was trying to make R2D2 work, but I think our R2D2 is just a couple points too expensive.
R2D2 will be fine when the LAC comes out.
All right, so
And
there's...
that's gonna do it.
Yep.
So I'm missing. Did Anakin not take damage from the SSA?
He did.
No, they just didn't update it.
He took
Oh, they
two.
just haven't
Yeah.
updated it.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's gone. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
And now the Inquisitor takes the shot on Axe, of course. That's a
Oof.
tough one for Chris.
Yep.
Tough one for Chris.
Yep. And let's see. So that is 64 points for Tommy.
You'll trade Anakin for shields on Death Rain, right?
Oh, usually, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather trade a scarier Anakin for shields on Death.
Right.
But a 60-point Anakin, well, it'll work just fine.
I mean, honestly, we're joking about the trade here, but if you could have gotten Death Rain off the board at the cost of Anakin Y-Wing, it's not a terrible trade. They're both 60 points ish, right? The problem is that Tommy's done a pretty good job of not putting Death Rain in position to get clobbered. And Anakin took that unfortunate crit. I mean, what can you do about that? You got the one that is one of the worst, to have.
On a Y.
Yeah, on a Y.
So we were talking about the Republican Y-Wing. The Republic Y-Wing.
The grand old Y-Wing.
Yeah. Grand old POS. But the thing that I really like about it, and like you, I like pretty much all of them. The thing that I like about it is, oh my God, R2 or R4 is such a value on that.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
actually one of the reasons why the R2D2 pilot one is not as good as
because he
his
can't
points
take
are.
his own droid.
Exactly. He cannot take the thing that makes their dial not blow. His ability is really awesome, and I love the fiction. I think I've talked about this on our streams before. I love the fictional idea of he's piloting, so of course you've got some dipshit in the pilot seat instead as a crew, and of course if you combine that with 3PO, it's thematically perfect,
Yeah.
but it's a few points too expensive. because the dial is so
So
bad.
bad. Oh.
All right, so if you're Chris,
I five straight Rick.
If I'm Chris, I start screaming about my kids having a meltdown and flip the table.
if yeah,
I mean, that's not true. He's got his two best ships still left. Actually, the remainder of his ships, except for one shield off Plo Koon, are untouched.
yeah,
Yeah.
So focus some fire. Rick's in a terrible position, but that's okay.
yeah.
Focus some fire and get a ship off the board and reassess.
Yeah, it's actually, and it's that boost he did last turn that kind of puts him in a bad spot to come through, between those rocks. There isn't really a good move to dial up for Rick at all to have a shot this turn.
I think he has the one-turn boost, doesn't he?
I think so.
I think, or a 3-bank, but I don't know if that 3-bank gets him all the way there.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'd be afraid it would hit the debris.
B2, and then you don't even get the evade. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it has to be. I think it has to be one hard, and then evaluate, because you are moving late, right? So maybe you luck out and you end up with APT shot.
Yeah.
It's
On the other hand,
do you 4K from Inquisitor here?
Does the 4K actually fit?
Barrel roll the Plo.
I mean, the Inquisitor's, not a terrible choice to give Plo some trouble.
Yeah. So maybe just the 5 straight barrel roll and then the 2-bank from the ITP and then just deal with it, Plo.
I like the 5 straight barrel roll idea because Plo's most likely move here.
Yeah,
is a
5 straight barrel roll doesn't clear that rock.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, then 5 straight boost.
Or 4 straight boost is what you want. If you're trying to plug that 2-bank from Plo, you want the 4 straight boost.
Well, the problem for Tommy is that he has to go first, so Axe is going to be in the way.
Axe is there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So that's why I was thinking like a 5 straight might be your best chance. Maybe a 4 straight gets past, but it sure looks like it's close enough that I wouldn't want to try it.
I think a 4 straight would have barely made it, but yeah, that's just a risk that you're not real comfortable taking.
Yeah. That's a good 1-bank for Axe there. I like that a lot.
I like the 3-bank from Death Rain, and hey man, let's hit Rick with oh, too bad. Hit Rick with some ion missiles. Don't forget you got those ion missiles there, buddy.
Well,
it's okay. He's gonna poop the ion bomb on Rick when he comes back around.
Wow. Aggressive.
Okay.
Well, he's fine.
It's 3 naked dice on Death Rain. That's not terrible.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't like being stressed there, but he did clear it, so he's not going to hit it again.
Yep. Why not just the 1 turn though?
Predictability.
The better question is how come last turn he went 2-bank instead of a 3-bank or a 3 hard?
Yes, this is round 5. Sean is asking, so I'll go ahead and update their token. You can never trust Tommy to do that.
Foresight, just kidding, doesn't have it.
And I think you are fucked. If you're Plo Koon.
Man, why not 3-bank Death Rain and just lay that ion torp on Rick?
And the boost is blocked.
Rip. Undo. Rip.
Yeah.
He's in trouble.
I thought maybe a straight boost is not a terrible idea there, but oof.
Well, it's certainly better than failing the right boost.
Yeah.
Inquisitor target lock. There we go. Man, Tommy has really flown this well.
Yeah, it seems like he's his first game gave him some good practice. To be prepared for a matchup against another 4-ship list here.
I think somebody just moved Rick.
I think it got bumped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have.
It's the biggest pain in the ass of Vassal is you just click with your mouse, and if you're not just super precise, you get that little nudge.
I've started
blow.
magic boxing my ships to select them now.
So what was that? Was that a failed force boost, and then he just did his normal action to barrel roll?
Yeah, it looked
Yes.
like he
Okay.
initially thought about taking focus, but then decided to barrel roll instead.
Yikes.
Oh yeah, he thought he was going to get the extra, or he didn't get the extra die because Death Rain actually went faster than Rick did.
Also,
yeah.
heroic.
He doesn't have heroic.
Oh, right.
Why doesn't he have heroic? That's just ridiculous.
I know, right? Why can't he
Who
go?
doesn't take
Every
heroic?
ship should have
Why
heroic.
can't he go jack that from the future and come back in time?
They did not. They did not have heroes in the Republic, man. They didn't have heroes in the Civil War era. They did not have heroes
That was
until
not
Resistance.
obstructed. He rolled too many dice.
Who is attacking?
This is the SSA.
The SSA. Yeah, why did you roll 3 dice? He's going to roll natty evades now.
Just as an FU to Rick.
I will accept it. There we go.
All right, so Axe is not at half points, but does take a damage there.
Sorry, Langland.
So now we got our 3s. So that is.
Well, no, the SSA gets to shoot now.
He
Yeah, the
just
SSA
did.
is at that was
Didn't
that the no, I think that was the
That was
defense
Death Rain.
roll. That was Death Rain on
Yeah.
Axe.
So now
Death Rain rolled 3 attack dice?
Yeah, it's range
range
1
1.
for him, but it's obstructed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know it looks like it's just beyond range 1 to me as
Looks like
well,
it's
but
just out. Yeah, I think because I'm looking at Death Rain like it's a large base ship, and my eyes is doing that. My eyes are doing that comparison, and that's incorrect.
SSA into Axe.
Oof.
oh damn.
Yeah,
And
you got it.
focus.
Yeah, just do it. Ouch. Heroic.
Oh, heroic.
Heroic.
Just roll natty blanks.
Yeah. Yeah, at this point, if I'm Chris, I get my sleep. I just don't see how you come back from this.
All right, so Axe is 37 points.
An initiative killed.
Yep.
Yeah. Range 2 from Inquisitor to Plo Koon. 2 versus 3. That ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
No reason not to spend it. Okay, what did I miss? How did that become a crit?
He had a target lock on Plo. So he re-rolled the focus into a crit and the blank into a blank.
Why did he
that's the correct thing to do.
Why did he re-roll the focus?
Because it gives him better odds of getting 2 hits than if he only re-rolls the blank. Because he doesn't have a focus token.
He has a force.
Right. So that's a 50-50 shot on the second dice. And so if you run the math, it's you get more advantage for re-rolling both
There's no way that's possible. There's no way that's possible. If he's got a way to modify a focus, there's no way it's possible to re-roll both as better odds. Because you've got just as likely a chance to roll a blank as you do a focus.
Right, but you have to look at the odds for both dice.
Yeah, no, I'm aware. Well, we can talk about it later, but yeah, there's no way the correct
No,
roll.
please talk about it now. This is
So-
content.
So he's got a focus. He re-rolls the other one. He's got a 50% chance of 2 hits, right? He re-rolls both. If he gets a blank on either of them, or a focus on both of them, or a focus, a blank on either of them, a focus on both of them, then he doesn't get a hit. That's, I mean, I'll figure it. Blank on either of them. 4, 4. So a blank on either of them alone is 9 and 16. When you add in the focus possibility, then you just keep the focus. You wouldn't do that if you had a reason to defend with your force, but he had no reason to defend with his force. Why would you change a modifiable die?
Because the odds of rolling an unusable result is 50-50 if you only reroll one die.
Correct.
Whereas if you reroll both, the odds of your roll getting worse is very, very low.
No. So your roll is no better than it already was. So you take 3/4 times 3/4, which is 9 and 16, which means that you roll a blank 7 out of 16 times. That's already almost half. Then you add in the 2 blanks, which is 1 in 16. You add in the 2 focuses, which is 1 in 16, and those are worse. And now you've got a 9 in 16 chance of either not doing better or getting worse. 9 and 16 is more than 50-50. You're better off rolling just the one that missed.
I think it's more than.
I've got the math right in front of me, man.
Well, I mean, I'm actually thinking it's more than 1 in 16. It's been too long since I sat down in a statistics class.
A blank on a red die is 1 in 4. So 2 blanks on 2 red dice is 1 in 4 times 1 in 4, which is 1 in 16. Exactly the same for 2 focuses.
True. Yep. Okay.
So those together are 1 in 8. Or 2 in 16. So when you add that to the 7 in 16 of your chance of rolling a single blank, then you've got 9 in 16. So there we go. We've learned something today.
So a double blank is 4/64.
Correct. 1 in 16.
And then double focus
Exactly
is going to
the same.
be. So the only way your roll gets worse is 1/16. The way your roll stays the same is 1/16. Or actually no, it would be 3/16. So there's a 25% chance your roll is the same or worse, and there's a 75% chance your roll gets better.
No, you've got it wrong. It's 9 and 16. Your roll gets worse. 7 and your roll is either the same or worse. 7/16 it gets better. In this case, the probability, which is very non-intuitive exercise in the first place, is actually fairly intuitive. Don't re-roll something when you've got a modifier for it that you can absolutely spend without cost.
If you roll 2 attack dice, what are the odds you get focus blank?
All right. I want to just step in here for a second.
Yeah.
Because we do have the players beginning to, activate here.
Okay, you do you.
So Plo Koon ended up running right into Tommy's Inquisitor, which is going to be potentially pretty bad for him here. There's an Ion Bomb on the board that Rick has to boost to avoid, which I don't think any of us are surprised that the Ion Bomb went down there. Which of course means that Rick is not going to be able to not even double mod, not going to be able to mod Rick's attack at all.
Here's my question for you.
Yep.
Did he really have to boost to avoid that?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, to take a look at
the
range there.
I don't mean to get out of its range.
Gotcha.
I mean, did he really have to boost to avoid it? Is he in? I don't think he would have been in any danger next turn.
Well,
he would have taken a seismic next turn, and he would have had 2 or 3 arcs pointing at him.
There's nothing to blow up with the seismic.
There's the debris right next to him right there. And I think Rick's right. I think if you're Ioned, that is an auto drop. That said, I also worry about both of those. Well, at least one of those phantoms turning on him too.
Are you guys telling me there's a debris right next to Rick? It's
right next to Death Rain in the middle.
Oh my God, that's not. I'm gonna show you. That's not on my screen.
Oh no.
That's the weirdest thing. It's not on my screen.
That is weird.
You guys are... Can I paste this into Discord? I can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Poor Chris.
Check that out.
Poor Chris just... it's just not get... His dice are not bailing him out here at all. Wow.
That's incredible.
How in God's name did that happen? Yeah.
Jeff, you broke it.
You know what? Your math broke.
I know, broke Vassal. I'm going to sync to somebody. Who should I sync to?
Sync to Tommy.
I was like, what are you guys talking about? There's no debris there.
So I haven't. You guys were discussing the math there, and there is a conversation going on in the YouTube dashboard chat. So, Jeff, why don't you check that out and see if what they're saying there jives with what you're trying to say.
All right.
Friggin' Java. That's right, Adam. That's obviously ugly for Plo Koon here. That's a dead Plo Koon, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there it is. It's back. That's weird.
I'm just gonna claim next time I play a game in Vassal, I don't see any rocks.
I don't see a debris.
What debris?
Are you talking about?
There's no debris there. What are you talking about?
I wonder if I would have seen a flash if one of them had run over it.
That's a good question. I don't know. Probably not. Okay, Chris is conceding here. Yeah, that was a rough game for Chris. I think I would say my main takeaway from this game is that Tommy's list isn't just a little bit better than Chris's here. It's a lot better, and Tommy flew a pretty good game. So, Jeff and Rick, what are your kind of takeaways from this?
Go for it, Rick.
When you got 3 dice, when you got action economy out your butt, it helps. When you roll hot, it helps. When your opponent rolls cold, it also helps. So yeah, that's kind of my takeaway is Chris did not have a great game. Tommy had a great game, and it compounded the differences in their list.
I think that Tommy, as we talked about, I do think Tommy had a better list. 3 wasted points notwithstanding, I think it was a little bit better than Chris's. But Tommy just flew really, really well in his positioning, and it was unexpected good positioning.
Yeah.
Which is that's a winner. When you can get unexpected good positioning, your opponent's gonna have a hard time beating you.
I mean that one turn. I mean that one turn with the the bank boost and three guns on Anakin and getting around the Inquisitor with the SSA on the 3 hard and not hitting the rock. That was just those moves were so good and so unanticipated by Chris that they really did turn the game, right?
Yeah, unanticipated by us. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Maybe Tommy just
good
posted
stuff.
the dice statistics. Chris Langland was expected to get 7 blanks on his attack dice. He rolled 13.
Yeah.
Tommy was expected 9 and he rolled 4. So let's go to their
let's
room
go talk
and
to him. All right, I'm gonna jump in. All right.
My green dice weren't terrible. I mean, they were just kind of meh.
Your green dice were average, Chris.
Green dice were average.
Yeah, my green dice were average. And then you look over here and actual after converts of hits, 19, and crits, 9.
3 focuses and 4 blanks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Just roll natties.
Just roll natties and paint, right?
Yeah.
So Tommy and Chris, Chris, I don't know if we did this the last time we streamed you or not, but we've started to come in and kind of try to get the players' feel on how the game went. And we've been talking kind of how our perspective was. So I think what I'd start with is, so we were laughing from the very beginning.
Were you thinking?
we were laughing from the very beginning that Death Rain went down in one corner and then it was like a magnet. All of your ships were like, we're going to get you, right. Death Rain, which of course, right, that makes total sense because you've got the initiative
right.
On him. And so we were really looking to see kind of how fast you went and then what Tommy did to counter that.
Right.
You did go very fast at Death Rain. Did Tommy catch you by surprise with anything he did there in countering?
No, not really. I mean, everything was kind of going as I was kind of expecting. The 4K, it was absolutely the right move that he made there, and that put me in a really tough position. So because I couldn't really get behind him, and I started kind of I brought in Anakin to do some damage, and hey, he did 3 damage on somebody in exchange for dying.
Yeah, we were actually laughing about that because we were like, if you can actually trade Anakin for Death Rain, that's a great trade because they're both about 60 points. But
totally.
If you trade Anakin for about 3 shields off of Death Rain,
not so much.
Not as good, right?
That was actually, I mean, maybe Anakin is a lot better when he has a turret.
Yeah.
But oh my lord, I have been underwhelmed with Anakin.
Yeah, we were joking that I kept looking at the board and thinking, wow, he's got Anakin coming up behind. That's scary. And then I was like, no. And this
totally not.
It's not really that scary, actually.
Tommy,
so that was different.
What was your kind of perspective after setup? Like, what was your goal? I mean, obviously, we predicted Death Rain was going to get the fuck out with the 3 hard because of or 2 hard, whichever it was that fit there. But then you self bumped the Phantoms on that initial move. Of course, we all know that because you're a Stort champion, that was totally intentional, and your win came from the fact that they were perfectly positioned the way you wanted there. What was your kind of goal?
Not that I, looked at my dial and went, that should be a 4. Moved on to the next dial, put everything down and went, that's not a 4. Damn it. I was trying not to bump the Phantoms. Apparently, I cannot accomplish that in either one of my either game I've played so far. I wanted to keep the Phantoms kind of separate. I tried flying them together the last game, and that didn't pan out well for me. So kind of leave them some room to do Phantom-y things and, uncloak wherever the hell they want, and then use Inquisitor to just kind of flank or come around the rear. So once Plo and Rick kind of started moving up the board, luckily most of my ships were already, down in the lower half of the board or in the middle and pointed toward Anakin and Axe.
Yeah, there was one turn there that, I'll be completely honest, we just did not predict all of your aggressive. We predicted Death Rain's one bank boost, but we did not predict the 4K from the Phantom, and we didn't predict that the 3 hard from the other Phantom was going to clear the rock and or not bump the Inquisitor. And Chris, it seemed like you were expecting maybe the SSA to candy cane there because you sent Rick pretty hard that direction, plus Axe kind of went that way too.
I played Drew Bishop a lot, and the candy cane is one of his favorite maneuvers.
Yeah.
So I that was absolutely what I expected.
Yeah. And I guess really what I mean to ask is, Tommy, do you not understand how the candy cane works, or?
Oh no, well, one I do, but 2, this is also the second game ever that I've flown Phantoms. So, both.
Tommy, I think that move was the linchpin of the game.
Was so good.
When you decloaked forward and Chris had those 2 ships basically out of position.
Because
you were able to come around.
Looking at that turn, I was like, well, the barrel rolled toward the right side of the board for me. I was like, I don't know if that fits or that probably fits, but that also puts him in not a great position. So I was like, oh, you know what, YOLO, straight to the teeth.
So you took a page out of Rick's book.
Yes, but I stayed on the board.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't tell him to roll off the board.
Wow.
Rude.
Gonna be that,
huh? So you were anticipating sort of, we weren't sure whether, because Anakin and it was already kind of in big trouble. We weren't sure whether Plo and Axe and Rick would try some, series of like K turns and Talons to try to put pressure on your ships on the interior. You fully anticipated that Rick was going to try to hunt down the SSA, is what it sounds like.
It was just one of those. Okay, where can they go?
Yeah.
Where can I be that they won't be there?
Right. And then of course, dice did play a part in this. Jeff and I were talking kind of early on in the match about these 2 lists, and they seemed pretty evenly matched, just in the sense that there's not a ton of wasted points on either side, if at all. You've got composure.
I beg to differ. Anakin in a Y-wing with Cody is 60 points of I don't know what the hell.
You mean Anakin in a Y-wing is just
with no
points?
Upgrades? Yeah, it seems like a bit of a waste.
Yeah. Which is too bad, because it seems in theory not terrible. I mean, it's still an I6. Commander Cody seems good, because if you're gonna miss, it's a 2-die shot, and
look, when you shoot in Death Rain, and he doesn't evade,
Yeah.
and he doesn't roll evades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is obviously the only second game I've played with Cody, but yeah, he has not procced at all.
You've hit every single time.
Either
Hit or whiff.
I've hit or I've blanked, so there's nothing to cancel.
Hilariously, through 2 games, I have not procced Fifth Brother.
Yeah, we were talking about that too, because
Fifth Brother is wasted points.
Yeah.
Because
you used the force on him once, didn't you? In terms
I don't know. Maybe to get an evade.
Yeah, I thought you used it to get an evade once, but maybe I'm misremembering.
We were talking about that in relation to attacking Anakin, and how the crits that are rolled as naturals on the first roll are the ones that you end up having to change to hit. So we were like, oh man, it would be really bad here for Chris if Tommy rolled a focus, because that one doesn't change, and then you rolled like hit, crit, and we're like, oh, never mind. This sucks too for poor Chris.
Yup.
So do you guys have actually? Let's go to Jeff and Rick. Do you guys have questions for these 2 guys?
So I don't, I have a certain reputation. I don't want to increase that, but we do have to point out, in addition to Tommy's fantastic flying and a slight list advantage, Tommy was well into the second standard deviation from the mean on his hits and crits rolled, and Chris was way back on the first standard deviation on his hits and crits rolled, and that's gonna have a real effect when you've got a disparity like that.
Oh yeah.
So there was just no coming back with dice like that.
Yeah, I'm
happen.
looking at the Tommy posted the stats in there, and I'm seeing a negative 16 by the end of the game of advantage, general advantage of luck towards Tommy. So, all right. I mean, and to be fair, I have never really gotten the hang of aces. The squirreliness of them, the get them into positions where I can reposition and all that. I know about it in theory, but I just don't
understand how it works.
Yeah. I mean,
you move
To be
to
fair,
where you can get out of their
Anakin's
arc.
not an ace.
Easy.
Anakin's not an ace.
He's talking about Rick.
Rick and Plo. Yeah.
Oh, right.
I mean,
I felt like it didn't do too bad with Rick, but Plo, God, I just fed him to the wolves.
yeah, I mean, it was just an unfortunate bump in a couple of cases. The self bump after the barrel roll,
Yep.
because of the seismic bomb, which was a very well planned seismic,
Yep.
and then of course you also ended up having to dodge the ion, which meant you didn't have mods when you shot the death rain as well. I mean, it just kind of not just the dice went against you, but then you didn't have your dice mods when maybe it wouldn't have been totally horrible either, just for due to circumstances.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, true, but it's 16 expected hits and crits, and Tommy got 23. 23.
Woo!
That's like plus 45%.
Tommy, what are you doing wasting this on Jank Tank? What the
I am screwed for the rest of the league.
Yup.
Um,
I'm gonna really enjoy it when the next when Jank Tank round 3 is titled Store Champ Tommy Nguyen.
Nami
God.
New
I might
nickname.
not be able to type, but at least I can speak properly.
New nickname. He's Nami Twin. You heard it here first.
Oh no.
Rick, did you have any questions as well?
Nothing substantial. I think we all kind of pretty much went through it, and I think it's time for bed.
Yeah,
Sounds like a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
I do want to point out one thing. So I'm sitting here talking to Ben and to Rick, and I'm like, I don't understand why Tommy, when this was when Rick was sitting in that debris cloud, and I'm like, I don't understand why Tommy isn't just 3 banking Death Rain up there and hitting Rick with an ion torps, and then just utterly destroying him next round. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? There's a debris cloud there.
Oh, yeah.
No, there's I don't see a debris cloud. What are you talking about, debris cloud? So on my Vassal map, that L-shaped debris cloud was not there.
Yeah, we were talking about
bizarre.
how when you drop the ion and then Rick boosted out of the ion range, we were like, yeah, that's probably the right move, even though it costs you the focus or whatever. And at that point, Jeff was like, what are you talking about? There's nothing he can hit with the seismic. And we were like, oh no. Vassal done effed up. So anyway, it was a buggy night.
It was fun though.
Yeah.
All right.
Chris and Tommy, thank you for an entertaining but ultimately heartbreaking game for Chris.
For one person.
It happens.
Yeah. So this has been our first round 2 game that we've been able to cover on a stream. Hopefully we'll maybe be back tomorrow night with another game. Rick and Jeff, thank you for helping me out in the booth. Chris and Tommy, thank you for giving us an entertaining game. And those of you who watched this at home, thanks for tuning in.
At this point, I'm just pushing for first draft in the next one.
Well, let's see. I was wondering if it even makes sense to let folks redraft this time since it's only 3 games in the pod. So
Nah,
I'm gonna have to
think
figure
so.
out something else for folks.
Loser bracket.
Unless I can switch switch ships.
It's an interesting dynamic, by the way. Pushing for the first draft is great, but if
Yeah.
Ben keeps the balance that well, then having first player is much more valuable.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I'll have to think about
That's true.
that. So yeah, thanks everybody. We'll be back keep an eye on the Militant Casuals page. I tend to try to post in the afternoon before we do a stream, so that you can be aware. You can obviously follow the challenge, follow the channel, like and follow it, and we'll be back.
Subscribe, please.
Like and subscribe. Yeah, thanks everybody.
Hasta la vista.
All right.
Good night, folks.
Y'all have a good week.
Hey, Jeff.